are now live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book Talk, hosted by Bookish Pen Pals. And I'm Kristen, one of the admins. And with me today, I have Emily Lankow. Correct? Did I say your
Lankow.
last name?
Yep. Very close.
Lankow.
You're good.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. So
Mhm.
Emily is the author of Rift Rider, Fall of the Enclave, and Guardian, Rise of the Fallen. And tonight
Mhm.
we're here to talk with her about Rift Rider. And Emily and I have actually had, I've had a little bit of a fangirl thing on Facebook for a while. I was following her when I saw the book come up, and I was really interested in the story. And then we started talking about music. So tonight, see, we have our matching Culture Club shirts on. We talk about concerts that I go to and music and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited to have you here, Emily. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this for weeks now, and this is awesome. This is my first live, not on Instagram, so it's really exciting to be able to be here and do this for this new group. This is awesome.
Fantastic. And I saw that you joined our pen pal group too, so that was really exciting.
It.
There
Yeah.
was so much chatter about it today too, and I love that. So tell us,
Yeah.
let's go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I've been having so much fun meeting everybody in this new group. I'm usually kind of a lurker on social media, to be honest. I don't interact a ton, but everybody has been so welcoming so far, and it's been a really easy group to interact with, and I love that. I appreciate that.
Oh, that makes me super happy. I absolutely love this group. I've been in it for a while, and now that I'm an admin, it's so much fun to interact with such positive women and building each other up. So I love that. So tell us a little bit more about Rift Rider.
So Rift Rider is a young adult urban fantasy story. It features a pretty large cast of characters that are all largely LGBTQ characters. And it follows them in the magic realm as they fight to take down a corrupt magical government, and go on various adventures, and it's really fun. It's actually the first book in a 4-book series. So I will be having this story goes on for a little bit.
That's exciting for me because I want to know where they're all going to go. Because I read this story and I was thrilled, one, that it has LGBTQ characters in it. Mm-hmm. And I found that the plot really kind of has a parallel to society in a little bit of a way. And so I really loved that. What were some of the inspirations that you had in coming up with the storyline?
So it's really funny because I don't remember a single thing inspiring this particular story. This story kind of came out of nowhere for me. Like I was actually working on, I had just finished Guardian and I was working on the prequel for Guardian. And a lot of the time when I get inspired, I will have like little snippets of conversations from characters that I hear in my head. And it's like, oh, this is fun. What's going on? And I have to kind of figure out where it goes and fill in the puzzle pieces for stories. But this one came out of nowhere. And not only did I immediately know that it wasn't directly involved with Guardian, it is related, but in kind of a removed kind of way. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later, I feel like probably. But this story just really genuinely came out of nowhere. I don't know what triggered it or what inspired it, but it was just there. And it was also much more developed idea than most of my stories start out to be. Like Monica was there right off the bat. Finn was there right off the bat. They had so much to say. They were, very well developed. There was, even an inkling of the plot going into it. There was still a lot to figure out because it did become a much bigger story than they usually start out to be. I mean, 4 books, but it was just wild because it was like I had not planned to work on anything else, but there was definitely something there. There was a story that needed to be told, and I'm so excited that I actually shifted gears to tell it, because not only did I write Rift Rider in about a quarter of the time that it usually takes me to write a rough draft, so it really wanted to be written, but in later parts of the series, it actually helped me figure out things about the second Guardian book that I'm going to need to know when I finish that book. Because the neat thing about the Rift Rider series, or the Fall of the Enclave, and the Guardian series, or the Rise of the Fallen, is that while they have different characters and a different plot, they are in the same universe. They are in the Seven Realms universe, which, as I touch on a little bit in Rift Rider, is comprised of 7 realms, including the mortal realm, the magic realm, the angel realm. So, you won't have to read both series in order to appreciate both series, but if you do, there's some overlap that kind of builds the world in a much grander way, that I think is going to be really rewarding and exciting to readers to be able to go, oh, I see what you did there.
That's
So,
always that's
yeah.
always fun as a reader to go, oh, wait a minute, there's a connection
Right.
there. That's really
Yeah.
fantastic. So I
Yeah.
was going to ask like what the most difficult part of the writing process is with this book, but it doesn't sound. It sounds like it all sort of came to you.
It did. There were a couple of tricky little spots. In general, I can't necessarily remember a spot that I struggled with as much in this book. There was one in the second book and later on in the series. But I think overall in the writing process, one of the most difficult things for me personally is the consistency, making time to write and actually, there's always this urge to wait until you feel motivated or wait until you feel inspired. And that's something that I have always kind of struggled with because, you always want to feel like what you're writing feels special and important, and you want to feel like, oh, I'm awesome, and this is all going so well. So it's easy to fall into that trap of wanting to wait until you feel inspired to write. So it's kind of hard sometimes forcing yourself to write when you don't feel that way, but it's so important to do so, because sometimes it'll just stretch on and you won't write. Or there's a saying that I have always tried to live by that I really love. That's you can't edit a blank page, and that's so true.
Very
So
true. It's like that
sometimes you get lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
can't get started unless you start, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes you get lucky and get inspired, and sometimes it's just a spark at the very beginning and you have to chase the rest of it. Sometimes it comes easy. You really can never tell, but yeah, don't wait for it. Go after it.
I love that advice. I think that's true for so many parts of our life. We just need to go
Yeah,
for it.
I
I
agree.
love,
Yeah.
I really, really love the LGBTQ aspects of especially YA literature. I think it's so important for kids to know that, there's all of these other things out there and people that are writing for them, and not even just for them, but for adults in general. I think YA literature is some of the best out there. How is it important for you to have a main character and other characters in the book that was part of the community?
Yeah. So, again, with this being super unexpected, I didn't actually plan for any of my characters to be a member of the LGBTQ community. It just kind of happened, but I always write characters first. I always, they're the ones that speak to me. They're the ones that tell me what's going on. They're the ones that give me their perspective. So, I think it was very important for me to be able to write Monica as who she was, because that wasn't ever really a conscious decision I made to make her bi. She just was, and it was really important that I listened to her and let her be that way, just like, she is who she is, Finn who is who he is, I am who I am. And that was really important for me to be able to do that. And I think it's really interesting to see how that did evolve into the story, because even though I felt like that wasn't something I had consciously planned, it does parallel the themes of the story really well, as far as, seeing worlds that are different than yours and seeing people who are different than those that you're used to, places and situations and all kinds of things that are different than what you're used to, but being able to coexist in that space in a safe way, and basically just have a world where people are able to, exist in their truest to themselves form. There's a lot with this story as far as like I focus on found family. There's a lot of themes of loss and of, trying to find where you belong. And so having so many characters who are part of the LGBTQ community felt like a really natural facet of this world that I was building, because it was just like, it just belonged. It just made sense to me, because in a world where everyone can be who they're meant to be, that should be true in all its forms,
That leads me right into the next thing, because as I was reading it, and I'm going to try really hard not to give any kind of spoilers, but it really struck me when especially chapter 13. So if you're watching and you haven't read it yet, really go get it. And as we get to chapter 13, I love the passage that, Finn and Monica are talking about the world that they are shifted into, and how the creatures in that realm are who they want to be. And Finn is saying, well, isn't this character supposed to act this way? Isn't Well, what do you mean he's this? I'm not going to say what he is because you have to read it. But I really love that he was like, well, why? And she's like, well, this is a realm where they're their natural selves. They don't have to have the expectation of the rest of the mortal society world. And that really struck me, because I think we really want that in our society, and that doesn't happen. And so, he was really thinking about that. And he's a really fun character, because he goes from silly to serious, and then really contemplative and naive in some parts. And I like that he's really open to listening to, well, those creatures, of the magical realm are just who they are. And he kind of accepts it and moves on without really blinking. And, that makes me think, as a society, do you think we're ever going to get to that place where we are just who we are? Because I think books like Riff Rider really are showing that this is just the way it needs to be. So do you think we're ever going to get there?
Honestly, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'd sure like to say yes, I think we will. That's part of the reason I like fantasy so much, is because fantasy as a genre is so freeing, and it's such an escape. And growing up, had always given me a place to be me and to get away from the real world when it got too heavy or too hard. And I think a lot of the world that I've built in Arcanesta is this expression of my idealized world, because even though they're still struggling with the Enclave, with this group of magic wielders who are very close-minded and who are very power hungry, and think they're better than everybody else, and are almost kind of afraid of and repressive to the creature races, and even mortals, anybody who's really not like them. Even though they're fighting against that to try and save this world, this idealized place of being able to be your truest self and to be your freest self, without limitation. It is just kind of, sorry, I'm trying to sum up here in the best way, and the words don't always. I think for me, writing this was, kind of my hopefulness and my building toward, like, this is what I would love to have someday, is a place like this. And even though there will always be those people who don't want that for everybody else, or who want to make it what they want to make it, it's so important to be able to fight for the things that are important to us, and to fight for that world that we want. And I never planned on getting this deep with this story. It really did start off as a fantasy and as a fun time, like, let's go fight monsters, let's go take down the bad guys. But it's funny, because I always leave a part of myself and who I am at the time that I'm writing something in not only each of my characters, like each of them have a little part of me in them, but the world as a whole in this series has really encompassed that more than anything. I think part of this, writing this series, has been so important to me personally, and I think part of the reason it arose as suddenly as it did, was that it was an exploration of self. as much as everything else also, because I was writing the prequel to Guardian, and my Angel of Existence character, I realized, is actually non-binary. And I grew up in a Midwestern conservative, very small kind of town, and I didn't necessarily have quite the connection to the community when I was younger that I wish I would have had in retrospect. So I did a lot of my research into my identity and all of the other identities in the community a lot later than some people get to do. So I think a lot of writing this book came from that, and came from just the realization of how many different people there are out there and how many different ways there are to be. And kind of finding your place in the world and making the world what you want it to be, rather than trying to make yourself fit in or make yourself something that fits in somewhere, but just having a better understanding of who I am and the world around me. So it was a really beautiful experience writing this series, because it's given me a lot of hope and love for myself and love for the world, and has helped me connect to so many people that I didn't have the opportunity to connect to growing up. And it's been a really beautiful experience. And so I hope that the people who read this kind of get that from it too. Sorry, I know that's a word salad.
Yeah, I really love that hopeful feeling in it, and I think that the characters really have that. And I know that we talked a little bit prior to us having this talk, but about Finn and his nature and how innocent he is for things. And I like the hopeful feel of it, and I saw and read and really felt that parallel to society, and that there really is hope for everybody to just be who you are, and fight, the evil, and fight for what's right and stick up for things. And I really loved that about the book. So I have my favorite characters. I really loved Finn. I thought he was goofy and silly, and then, tough when he needed to be. But who's your favorite character? Do you have one?
Oh man, don't make me choose. That's like trying to make a mom pick her favorite kid. It's totally Dobby, by the way.
I know.
But no, I mean, for real. No, fun fact, I actually conceived of Dobby before I conceived of the rest of this story. Like, It's funny how much creatively I feel like my subconscious is hooked into something bigger than myself. Because before I was writing this, I had actually taken a break from writing for quite a few years and was never sure if I'd actually come back to it. And that was really scary. And I'm glad I did, because this is definitely what I feel like I need to be doing. But my creative side was not happy with me not writing. So we did other things for a while. We did some jewelry making and some polymer clay sculpting. And I actually sculpted Davi in a form before I ever knew he existed. And if you'd like, I'd like to show it to you.
I would love that. I think our members would too. That's fantastic.
Cool. Well, so this is a little different than he appears in the book. This is actually kind of a deer version. It's a Certivar instead of a centaur, but it's still got his pretty white or pretty light gray body, and his white long hair and his green eyes. And these are really cool. He doesn't have these in the book, but I think it's so interesting the way that, like, he was there and he existed. This was probably a good 6 months, if not a year, before I was writing again at all. So, I mean, I spent pretty much a year writing Guardian before I ever made it to Rift Rider. So by the time it was ready to write that story, it was just like, everybody was like, let me out. All of my characters, I actually started with only meaning to have two characters, Monica and Finn, our two main characters. And both Celine and Davi were meant to be like one scene, one-off appearances. And both of them were like, excuse me, I don't think so.
They had a much larger voice.
They did, and they both make much bigger appearances throughout the rest of the series as well, and become so important to the resolution of the plot and all of the different ways that it branches off that I don't know. I honestly don't think I could have solved any of this without their existence, because everybody is so important and their voices are so important and everybody has their place in this story. And it could not work without a single one of them. And so it's funny how at the beginning I was like, oh my gosh, 4 characters, that doubled. And then book 2 was like, more characters. And then book 3, I get more characters. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But all of them are all very important. And I think it lends even more to those themes, just building and building on those themes of, you know, finding the people who love you for you, and for finding where you belong, and finding your place, and finding your voice, and finding your family, choosing the people who are important to you. And I mean, that's kind of why I put the dedication that I did in this book, because I mean, in Guardian, I've got this whole long page of thanking everybody who helped me, which is lovely, and I'm glad that I did that. But the dedication in Rift Rider is simply, this series is for my family. You know who you are. And that's very true. It's like everybody should be able to pick the people who are meant to be in their lives. And wow, this question got derailed, but yes, no. So
that's okay. I love that.
Davi's probably my favorite. I always have a soft spot for the really sassy characters, and I really loved like all of the playful innuendos that I could give him in the weapons quarter. I just love writing banter, and so that was really fun for me. But I also like seeing how all of their relationships develop further in the series, and I'm so excited to share that with you. God, it's killing me that I can't tell you what happens.
I can't wait. I can't even wait. I can't even wait. And I haven't even asked you when the next book is coming out.
We're looking at, so my goal is to do releases every 6 months. So we are looking at like the end of April, beginning of May for book 2 is what I'm hoping for. Yeah,
that's not that far off. It's not that far off.
No, right. It's really not.
It's really not. Okay, so this is a pen pal group, and we talk about books constantly, and I love that as we're writing each other, we're talking about what we're reading and all of those sorts of things. So if Monica had a pen pal, what genre of books do you think she would be reading and talking to her pen pals about? Because that's a big topic with us.
And that one's super tricky, because I have never really thought of Monica as a reader a whole lot. She's so busy doing other things, and but you know, as much of a loner as she is at the beginning of the book, I mean, she's got to have a way to fill her downtime. So I could totally see that being a thing. I feel like Monica could probably be into like crime dramas or thrillers, anything that really makes her think. I feel like she would be that person who's like, oh, I want to figure it out before we see the twist at the end, so I can go, ha, I got it.
I can see that.
And later in this book, or even beginning of book 2, I could also see her potentially getting into the occasional romance, but she would not admit that dead to anybody.
I don't think she would admit that at all.
Nope. She would be like, excuse me, you don't see this.
Right, exactly. All right, so there is a lot of positive comments in the chat. And that and I can't see everyone's names.
Yeah, I can't really see the chat a whole lot, so I'll have to let you go through it.
I totally will. So I'm just going to scroll up to the top a little bit. All right. It's such a great story. It's on our TBR. Cannot wait to read more. Emily's amazing. I agree. Such a beautiful story. I felt connected to the character so much, and I can relate to that comment, because right away I saw parallels to our society now, and it was refreshing to see that people could be who they wanted to be, and the adventure of it is so fun. And the idea of the Rift Rider in general, I would love that. I would totally love that. Although I don't know. The
I
danger.
was going to wear it, but I didn't because the whole outfit changed. But I have another fun thing to show you because apparently we're doing show and tell now. I had a Rift Rider made. And I want to show it to you guys.
Oh, this is exciting.
So I'm such a nerd. I love stuff like this. But I am part of a weird art group on Facebook, and somebody was posting about making metalworking coins. And so this is the design that I actually put together and sketched, and he like had it laser etched into this coin. Oh. And it's just the neatest thing, and I love it. I don't know how well my camera is.
We can see it. It's amazing. So you do know that, as you get the series out, even now, we're going to want those. You're going to have
I'm going to have to figure out the logistics because unfortunately the metal prototype was quite costly and I probably shouldn't have got it, but I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this cool. is, I love merch. I'm currently actually working on some digital art for some bookmarks for Guardian right now. And so, I mean, I definitely have a mind to want to do this. It's just a matter of finding a feasible and cost-effective way to do it. But I mean, I did do some metal enamel pins for Guardian, so I think that there's maybe some potential for pins instead of necklaces, but we'll have to see. Because I've got these
pins are awesome.
These I had made for Guardian, and they're actually like metal, and they came out super cool. And I'm really honestly thinking about I had some stickers for Rift Rider made, and they're hollow stickers. But I'm thinking that I might have some enamel pins too. So we'll see if there's a demand for them.
Well, there's going to be a demand for them. I think that's without a doubt. So. Really, without a doubt, because those are gorgeous. Cool. And honestly, I'm obsessed with books and merch too. I mean, it's good. Almost over the top. And when I get a favorite book, I have to have every edition. It doesn't matter the language if I can read it, and I have to have all the merch. And just from the comments, I mean, yes, please. I love pins. We demand is also in the chat.
Noted.
So take my money is another one, which I just love.
Well, all of these goodies, I actually have my website up now. EmilyLankow.com, and so all of these goodies are available through there, or I'm always happy to sell them through my page on Facebook. So I will message received. I will get on top of the enamel pins quickly.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. And we're a group that's kind of obsessed with bookmarks too. I love that. We're always trading bookmarks, and we do wishes on Monday, and everybody's always like bookmark stickers and all those kinds of things. And when you get a series that you just love and characters that you really enjoy, it's an obsession. So
I'm so tickled to hear that because those, starting out has always been a little nerve wracking because it's how am I going to find my people? And it makes me feel so good to hear you talk like this because I'm the exact same way. I'm if I love something, I love it with my whole heart and soul, and I want to crawl inside the pages and live there. And so to hear and to meet other people who are this way, and who will let me indulge my, art obsession of I want to draw all my characters and make you guys all bookmarks and stuff. I love that. I love being able to do that. It's great.
I think, I know that we lost her. Uh-oh. I'm going to wait to see if she connects back in. She's on her phone. She's connecting with her phone. So we'll give her a minute. Because it says I'm still live, so. Oh, there she goes.
That was so weird. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
It just
totally dropped off with no warning.
Technology, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's all good. So, all right. So somebody asked, can you show us the book? So it's really funny because this is the first time Emily and I have actually talked on live
in person.
In person, right? We talk on Facebook a lot. But it's funny because we both have and honestly, I noticed your shelf, and we have similar authors up here.
Yeah. I can't see it very well. What do you got? Because here's a fun thing about me. So for the longest time after high school, I did not read at all for almost 10 years because I didn't have time. My sitting still time was for writing, not reading. And
Right.
so within the last couple of years, I discovered the wonder that is audiobooks. And now I can read while I'm cooking dinner or cleaning my house or going to the grocery store. And now I read like 2 or 3 books a week. But with me reading audiobooks, I only buy the books that were like 5 stars for me. So everything you see on my shelf, with like 1 or 2 very small exceptions, are like, these are the ones. If I own it, it's because I love it enough that I would either read it again, and I'm not a huge rereader, or I would lend it out to somebody else. So if it's here, I loved it.
Right. Well,
Sorry, I'm
said lend
excited.
it out because
What was that?
I said I love that you said lend it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely not a thing I can do.
Oh.
I would rather send my favorite books to everybody and eat ramen for a week than lend them out. That's how
You know
obsessed I
what?
am.
I get that too. Anytime I lend something out, I take a picture of the person that I'm lending it to holding the item that I'm lending them, so that if it's been
That's
too
great.
long, or if I don't know where it is, I'm like, hey, sends picture. You done yet?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I thought I saw Adam Silvera on your shelf.
You
Um,
did. I have both. They both die at the end, and the first to die at the end. And I'm
me
really
too.
mad because one's a hardcover and one's a paperback, and I need to get a complete set in one or the other.
So I have them in paperback. I also have them
Mm-hmm.
signed. I also have them. That's my obsession. That's why
Oh.
I know that I'm sending this to you to sign, but I knew we were
Mm-hmm.
going to talk, and I was like, no, I can't send it until after we
Yeah.
talk. Because like that's funny. Someone in the chat said, "Got to have a separate stash for sharing books." No, that's what little free libraries are for, and I'll find my favorites and I'll put them out there for that, right?
Yeah.
So this is Riff Rider. That way Emily doesn't have to take hers down. The cover is
You
just
know what?
gorgeous.
I actually am literally sitting next to a box full of 50 books right now because I'm doing a signing tomorrow morning, and these are going
You
with me.
are.
So I like the whole box is right here, all of them.
That's fantastic. And that's got to be like the best feeling for that box to come and be like,
Yeah.
hey, these are all the ones that I get to sign and meet people and
Mm-hmm.
talk about. So I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
I have had so much fun, but I want to have a little bit more fun for our members. And I want
Yeah.
to play Book Nerd Would You Rather edition.
Oh boy.
Are you ready?
Yep.
I'm going to try not to torture you too much. I know that these might be,
Well, just know, as much as you
sorry.
torture me now, I can torture you with future books and series. So.
True. I don't want you to make me wait, though. All right, here we go. I'm going to start off with a really hard one.
Okay.
Would you rather drop your favorite book into the toilet or watch it fall into a wood chipper?
I don't like this question.
I wish I could hand out some tissues through the internet.
I'm really torn because even if it falls into the toilet, there's no guarantee that the pages are going to be okay and that it's going to still be readable. Like, I kind of am leaning toward that because I'm like, at least if I dry it out, it could still be readable. But honestly, I think almost the hope is worse. I think like all the painstaking time that I would go through trying to like dry out all the pages and like baby it back to life and not even know if it's gonna. I almost feel like get it over quickly, do the wood chipper.
Yeah.
So at least that way it's done and I can just be sad and then move on.
Yeah, me too. And then my thought process was, you come from trees, you're going back as mulch. At least the cycle goes on.
The circle of life.
Circle of life. Someone in the chat said wood chipper. If it has to die completely and not
there you
suffer
go.
to death.
Yes, agreed.
Someone else said, I think I'd take the toilet and turn it into one of those crystallized books. I think those crystallized books are so cool, but I think I would cry if I had to look at it wet and wrinkly because I knew where it was.
It kind of taints the memory of it.
It does, and you would hope that it's pristine. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that would be hard.
All right, here we go. Would you rather read only the first page of a book or read only the last page of a book?
Oh, God. This is worse than the first question. How dare you? Honestly, I am a very much like, even if I don't like something, I have to finish it to know how it ends. A lot of the time, I'm getting better about that. But like, I'm a very much like, I need to know how it ends kind of person. And if I read the first page of something that I get hooked on and obsessed with, and I can't read any more than the first page, I will die. So I think I think it needs to be the last page simply for my sanity's sake. Because that way, like if it's a series, I can read like the last page of each book in the series and kind of maybe be able to put together what happens.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah, right. I'm a huge fan of first lines, and so I think I would die with you because the first line is sometimes so deceiving in a book.
Mm-hmm.
You think somebody's going to die right away, and you find out they're going for Reese's Pieces or something. So I need to know the end part too.
Yep.
All right. So here, oh boy, here we go. Would you rather read a book with a cliffhanger ending or read a book with a heartbreaker ending?
Cliffhanger, 100%. I can't do a heartbreaker. I've said this in past interviews and I will say it again. Even if I don't give you 100% happy ending or a happy ending for every single one of my characters, somebody will at least get a happy ending because I can't. I cannot. There has to be hope. Otherwise, why am I doing this?
Right. One of the comments says, can you cheat and have your best friend read the beginning and you read the end and you share?
Ooh, smart.
Definitely.
Like that.
And there's no rules, right? It doesn't say that in this Would You Rather, right?
True.
It's hilarious. I love that. All right. Would you rather read one book a year but remember everything, or read 100 books a year and remember nothing?
Well, I pretty much already am doing number 2. So my memory for media is so awful that if I watch a TV show and I have to wait for the next season, I have to rewatch everything before that. Just because I won't remember. Like I'll remember vibes.
So busy.
Right. I'll remember vibes, but I won't remember much else. And I actually have read, I just broke 100 books this year, which I literally thought I'd never see. So I'm pretty excited for that. But I broke my 100 books for this year last week, and I only remember my favorites. And again, mostly it's just vibes. It's like, I loved this one, but I can't tell you why.
Yeah. All right. So this one to me is torture too. I'm going to make this the last one because I really feel like this is a vile as a book reader. Would you rather be stuck on a very long plane or train ride? I got to rephrase that. Would you rather be stuck on a very long plane or train ride without a book?
So would I rather a plane or a train? Well, I've never been on a train before.
On a plane or on a train ride without a book? Okay.
I've never been on a train before, so that's really hard because I don't have anything to compare to. But I know that airplanes affect my motion sickness much, much worse. So probably a train because I would have a better time of it. And I mean, I could look out the window and daydream a whole lot better.
On airplanes, like at least if you have a book, you can escape into that and not be thinking about how long this flight is. But without a book, like, I don't know, I would rather not watch the TV. I'd rather be reading. So to me, that's very torturous,
Yeah, agreed.
That's rough. So, yeah, totally. So I love it. The comments say cliffhanger is bad, but having a heartbreaking cliffhanger is worse.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. I don't know how many of you read Guardian, and if you haven't, please go check it out also, because, you'll appreciate some of the things I do later so much more if you do. But a lot of people were really, really angry at me for Guardian because I made it look like one of the characters was going away, and I didn't bring him back until the second to last page. And so it was like getting down to it. And people are like, oh my God, she did do it. And so Like a lot of people were like, I can't believe you turned that around. But it's like, I'm not sure whether to be really proud of myself for that or really sorry. A little bit of both.
A little bit of both, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
a lot bit of both.
definitely. Yeah,
But
especially,
yeah,
that anticipation always gets us, so that's always
yeah,
exciting. So
yeah,
thank you so much for coming on with me. And I
yeah.
know that when we're going to have these chats, because
Mhm.
like, I'm just thrilled with this book, and I hope everybody in our group
Yay.
reads it. And I can't wait for the next one to see what's going to happen in the world. And I want to meet the new characters, because I really loved the one in this one. And it was really hard for me to not spoil anything for anybody that hasn't read it, because it
Yeah,
is it's such a fun book. It really is.
thank you. Oh, I'm so glad.
So thank you again for coming on, and I hope we get you on again really soon. And who
Yeah,
knows,
I
maybe
would
we'll do
love to
pen
do more of
pals
these.
too.
Yes, this is awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic. You're very welcome. Thanks everybody for watching. The video will be up also on our YouTube channel. We have one now. Bookish Pen
Yay.
Pals has YouTube. We've been putting things on Instagram. We're going to be taking over the book world and book talks and having all kinds of authors on. So we're going to see
Woohoo.
you again super soon. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Emily.
Thank you, Kristen. I had such a blast.
Thank you. I'm glad. Have a fantastic weekend too.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.